We need to stop.
I have a great story for this. And that's the kind of question that we have to ask. It's a loaded question.
I love it. It's the discovery of potentially life. All right, welcome everybody to Silicon Zombies, where we bring you the best friends from the Bay and beyond. What a thrill to have Dr. Frank and Dr. Lauren back in the house, and we are going to be exploring the cosmic universe. And not only what does it mean for us, but what does it mean for potentially connecting with aliens and see if those exist. So we clearly take ourselves very seriously, as you can imagine over here. And we're going to have a great time, so thank you both for being in the house. Who would you like to kick us off here?
I would. Just from a show of hands, who was here to see Dr. Frank last time?
Hey, hey!
All right, so a lot of you know him, but Dr. Lauren's new to us, isn't she? So let's start off a lightning round with Dr. Lauren so we can get to know who she is. Dr. Lauren, what's your role at SETI?
I am a postdoctoral fellow at the SETI Institute, so I do a lot of research with citizen science, a lot of science communication as well.
Dr. Frank, how many people applied for this position before you gave it to Dr. Lauren?
That's a good question. I think something like 5 or 6.
Oh, well, you're the best of 6. Yeah, 6,000, right? Lauren, you have a PhD. What advice do you give to people who say, I want to get a PhD?
Definitely, if you want to do research and you want to do hard science, go for that PhD. Anybody can do it. It just requires a lot of determination and stubbornness. So if you have that, you can absolutely do it. But if you want to go more into industry, maybe you go a different route that doesn't take forever.
It is kind of nice to create like a foundation of support. So, but walk us back to when you were a kid and you're looking up at the inky black cosmos. Were you always fascinated with the planets? What kind of got you into the space?
Sure. I have a great story for this. When I was 8 years old,
I do remember the story. So.
I broke my arm at a science museum, like a nerd that I am. And I remember that night being so sad that my arm was broken and just sitting on my parents' porch looking up at the sky. And I noticed that I could see the red color of the star Betelgeuse in Orion, and just being able to determine the color of a star with my naked eye was just really inspiring even as a kid. So from that moment on, I was like, wow. I think I want to do that with my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She wrote that in the application when she applied to the jobs.
And it got me in
it worked, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, 3 more lightning round questions for you. Lauren, what's an exoplanet?
An exoplanet is a planet orbiting a star other than our sun. That's it.
All right. What's the best tool you've used over the past few years for your research? Say it.
I told your mom this. Probably ChatGPT.
Oh.
Guilty.
So, no. The reason being is that oftentimes when you are getting a job as a PhD, you are doing something entirely different than what you actually studied in your graduate research. And that was the case for me. I did debris disks. I studied space dust, basically. And so the transition into exoplanet research, it required a lot of research in order to just get familiar with the field.
Frank, Gemini or ChatGPT?
ChatGPT.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Of all the AIs, that's your favorite as well?
You know why? Because Salman used to go get sandwiches and he walked in front of my office multiple times.
Oh, Sam Altman?
Yes. Oh, wow. And one day they saw the sign SETI and they came to see us, say, hey, do you want to be a beta tester of this new tool? I said, what is that? It's called ChatGPT, and nobody knew about it. And I remember I mentioned it to you.
You did.
And I was absolutely amazed by the thing.
This is what makes San Francisco so special.
That's the reason we are in San
guess.
Francisco, yeah.
So from day one, was ChatGPT running decent?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Room for improvement.
Sometimes I remember I use it sometimes, and you were correcting me, say, no, this is not true. I say, oh yeah, that's not true.
You got to check it.
Hallucinating. Lauren, can we go back into colors in the night sky? It's my understanding that if you look through certain telescopes, and we want you to tell us a little bit more about this in a second, okay. But you can actually tell the speed upon which things are accelerating away from us based on how the space test refracts, or help us understand
Sure.
what
So I
this
think
looks like.
you're talking about the Doppler effect.
Yeah.
So that is essentially this effect of when something is moving towards us, the light that's coming towards us tends to get shifted towards the blue end of the visible spectrum. And when it's moving away from us, it gets shifted towards the red. And we can take data called radial velocity data and recognize whether that object is moving away or towards us based off of that.
All right, let's do a few more lightning round questions, then we'll get to our main questions. Frank, of all your employees, why Lauren for this panel? Why Dr. Lauren?
Because you got to pick.
Yeah, I have a lot of them. So
I can't wait for the answer to this.
I was thinking about that. How am I going to say? Because she's the only one. I can call her at 8 p.m. and I say, hey, do you want to go in 3 days to San Francisco and cross the entire United States to just come for that? And say, yes.
Oh, that's great.
That's commitment.
That's the employee we all want, right?
Yeah.
And then one last question here before we get to the real questions. What is SkyMapper?
SkyMapper is our new project. So that's SkyMapper, basically.
So tell us what we're looking at and tell us about SkyMapper.
So this is an observation coming from a telescope in New Mexico. So SkyMapper, the idea of SkyMapper is a dream of an astronomer. We basically, if you have a telescope, you connect your telescope to our platform. If you have a unistellar telescope, for instance, and anybody part of the network can access to your telescope, control your telescope, acquire data, etc. So here we're observing a nebula using a telescope located in New Mexico.
The Dumbbell Nebula.
The Dumbbell Nebula, which is a dying star. And this is an observation taking life. So what you're seeing here is basically us using remotely a telescope. So I can stop observation here. I can open this. It's going to take a while because this network is being used a lot. But you can choose here a list of telescopes all around the world which are connected to our platform.
Let's do Florida.
I don't know. There is Florida. We don't have.
It's all right. It's all right.
No,
Pick anyone you want.
Let's do the. No, we're gonna do Rodrigo in Chile.
Rodrigo.
Have you seen the sky of Chile?
No.
No.
Isn't that where you got your PhD?
Yes, that's where I got my PhD. That's why we're going back over there. That's why I say this is a dream of a telescope. So we are going to choose a target. Let's see. I have Tucane last time, so let's do that. And you're gonna see over time, as we're talking, an image popping up here and getting better because we are using the telescope in Chile to observe.
All right, hold on. It's coming. It
gonna
hasn't
take a
popped
while.
up yet. Oh, it's
So
going
we
to take a
can
while?
take- yeah.
All right. While we wait for this, last time you were here, you predicted something. And then right after you predicted it, 3 months later, the whole world started talking about it. You were here, you talked about the exoplanet, like, I don't know if it was Kepler 138 or GJ 9827D. But these are the water worlds, right? What's the update on the water world planets?
Did you listen again the podcast?
The one we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. I was just checking.
Yeah. That's how I know.
Is it number?
That's why I'm running.
Like, wow.
Trying to catch you, man.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Especially with my bosses here. You kidding me?
So yes, what happened is that last time I was here, we talk about Haitian planets, which are planets with exoplanet with an ocean. It's a very different type of planet that we don't have those in our solar system. And we talk about those, which are super interesting, definitely. But then I mentioned to you guys that there will be a major discovery announced soon. And the major discovery is the discovery of potentially life, microbiological life, on K2-18b, which is an Haitian planet, an ocean planet. And this was detected using the James Webb Space Telescope, announced by a group in Oxford University. But as you know, this is a major discovery, and such an important discovery is under the scrutiny of a lot of other astronomers. So here I have an astronomer who's going to tell us that maybe that was not life. So what was it?
Yes.
Nice handoff. I like that.
So,
It's life science here.
exactly. So a couple of years ago, the James Webb Space Telescope actually found this signal that they attributed to a chemical compound that's mostly created by plankton here on Earth, not by abiotic processes or processes not involving biology. And of course, we have to like test that and make sure that that's real. And so they did another study recently that's what came out earlier this year that was basically using a different instrument to look for that same signature. And they found it again to the same statistical significance that it was obvious in the data, but it will still have to be followed up. Now, the thing is we are not on that planet. So is it possible that there is a process on that planet where that compound could be created that we just don't know about here on Earth? And that's the kind of question that we have to ask before making the claims like, yes, this is a potential biosignature, a signature of life. But we're not familiar with that planet. We don't know exactly what's going on there.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
We should say that we don't see the planet.
Yes.
Okay? Astronomers don't see the planet. When we watch this planetary system, we see a tiny dot, and sometimes we see a small attenuation of light due to the fact that the planet is what we call transiting the star. So the light disappears, get dimmer slightly, and we use the color of the planet, the color of the star, to infer the presence of complex molecules like dimethyl sulfide in this case. I just wanted to show that I know the name.
You did great.
And see, without ChatGPT, just memory here. And so we don't see, we have a tiny signature or something that could be life. And everybody got super excited, myself included, because, we may have discovered finally life in a planet which is, 100 light years away from us or something like this?
Yeah, it's actually fairly close. Yeah. I think 120 light years. But at the same time, there's this a paper just came out last month talking about these Hycean worlds. I know I'm going to be the
nerd,
the devil's advocate.
Okay.
Yeah, nerd. Yes, that's why I'm here. This paper last month talked about doubts whether these Hycean worlds could even actually exist. It's this theoretical planet we think could be covered in water. And that study actually modeled how they think these worlds could be created and found that at the end of the day, these worlds actually didn't have as much water as we were originally thinking may be present. So there's a little back and forth in the scientific community about these Hycean worlds. Are they real?
All right, let me ask a couple questions about this water world, right? We're calling it a water world, right? You cannot, so if there's a dolphin swimming in this water world, you can't see that from here.
No.
You can't see it, okay.
But we can measure the atmosphere modified by the breath of the dolphin. Wow. So this is what we do.
Oh,
we don't see the dolphin, we see the change of life on the planet, in this case, on the atmosphere of the planet.
And are you seeing that?
We see the change, we believe. We are two. Okay, in my case, I believe, but that's a belief again,
yes,
that we may have discovered, in fact, the emission of a complex molecule from plankton on the surface of the ocean of this planet.
And you said it's 100 million light years away.
100.
No.
100 light years.
100.
Yeah.
All right, it's 100 light. So let's understand what a light year is. Is it 1 light year from here to Saturn?
Well, human light travels about 660,000 miles an hour.
Okay, so what would be 1 light year away that we would know?
The size of our galaxy is 100,000 light year diameter. Okay? So I give you an idea. The closest star is 4.2 light years, Alpha Centauri. Oh. The Earth is at 8 minute minute light, okay, from the sun. Earth
8 million light years away.
So if the star, if
8
sun
minutes.
turn off, it will take 8 minutes for us to realize that the sun turned off.
Wow.
Because that's the speed that basically the light cross the area.
And I think it's actually 660,000 miles a second, not a minute, right?
Right.
Okay.
A light year is, just as a plain definition, the distance that light can travel in a year. It's about 10 trillion kilometers, if that gives you.
Wow.
Which I mean, if I was going to say if it gives you an idea, but I can't really comprehend of how large that is.
If you have a rocket and you travel to Alpha Centauri, the closest planetary system, because now we know there is planet
We
there.
do.
Yeah.
It will take thousands of years for us to go there.
Do you want to get back on explain a little bit?
What are we looking at now?
So this one is This is a southern hemisphere sky. If you have lived in Chile or in Australia, in the southern part of the sky, you will see the sky is different because we see different stars, because we see the bottom of the sun, of the galaxy, basically. And there is a lot of beautiful objects in the southern hemisphere sky. And that's one of the reasons we have telescopes over there. So this is 47 Tucanae. So it's a globular cluster in the Tucanae constellation. It's something in our galaxy. The distance of this is 14,000 light years. So the image you see here, it's something that is the photons were emitted from this object 14,000 years ago. And the reason it's a beautiful object is because it's basically a cocoon with a lot of stars all together. Globular cluster, we don't really know where they are. I mean, there is different theories. One of them is that there may be a galaxy that our galaxy absorbed, and this is the heart of the galaxy, or there may be some kind of weird formation of concentration of stars that came all together. There is like 200,000 stars in this cocoon.
And sometimes they dance, right? Like, so they can have like a planetary.
Everything dances in space.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
and in fact, I just heard recently that Stephen Hawking's mentioned that two molecules, an antimatter molecule, and it can split off, and then the antimatter molecule can go into a black hole, and that essentially vaporizes a black hole. How does that all
do
work?
you want to take that? Because I'm not taking that.
That was so mean. Why would you do that to me?
I thought we had a couple PhDs up here. I mean, I know it's not on our list.
Yeah, that wasn't on the list, bro. That was not on the list.
This is the thing about being a PhD, though, is you get really, really expertise in this one topic. Quantum mechanics is actually one of my favorite topics, but to that, I don't want to say anything that I don't
Fair
know.
enough. But
Yeah.
like when we say quantum mechanics, this is like the study of the behavior of really small things, right? So like if we take a ball and we throw it against a wall, if the ball is small enough and the wall is thin enough, at some point it'll tunnel. It'll go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
There's
does-
a probability that even if you put your hands against the wall, since you are made of particles, there is a very small probability that your hands could go through.
My God. And so is that quantum tunneling, I guess?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
call it quantum tunneling.
Well, it's kind of like
Pick another
insane.
place for us.
It's gonna take a while, and so
No, that's good.
I can do that over
Oh,
time.
while we talk.
And ask one another what your questions over there.
Okay, so let's talk about SpaceX because you guys are both fans of SpaceX.
You in the Shrek costume.
You love it?
Makes the questions are so much
Can you
better.
not take him seriously right now? What's going on?
So SpaceX is targeting to do 170 orbital launches next year. 170. So, asteroid samples, checking out everything in space. How does these commercial and governmental efforts change the pace, the possibility of space exploration, especially when we're looking for extraterrestrial life?
So there's a lot of different ways to view this. And I love the idea of making innovations faster. And that's what happens when you have private companies, doing some of this stuff instead of the red tape and bureaucracy that can be involved in governmental processes. But I think this is a beautiful thing because we can make those innovations faster and different people are approaching the same problems. And so we get more creativity, more ways to approach and find a solution. I do think that we need to be careful because we don't want, warring factions coming at the same problem, competing for the sake of competition. We still want to have space exploration for the sake of space exploration as a human species instead of company versus company versus company. The launches are great. Space trash is an issue, and so we've got to be careful about that. So there's just a lot of different components to this particular question.
How can we foster more open collaboration versus competition in this regard?
One of the ideas is not to bring our problem that we have on Earth into space. Mm-hmm. So that would be kind of a way. The way we could do that is by having not only companies doing this space exploration, but having countries as well, and
Yes.
alliance of countries, or maybe like different way of thinking groups. Basically, why a company only can send a satellite? Why it could be as well, I don't know, the nations of the Maldives together with Madagascar and Réunion Island building together a rocket to go to space. Why not? So the point here is that space is being more accessible. So we are in a moment where we can take rational decision, what we can send or who we can send into space. You want to say something?
No, I'll wait for you to finish. Dr. Lauren said something that I want to go back to, but go
I
ahead.
truly believe that privatization is also a way to accelerate, and we need that. We need to go faster. Having space exploration in the end of a federal agency like NASA was great at the beginning, but now we have the technology to do that. It's time for the private industry to take over, and because they go faster, there is much less discussion and meetings. We do things. Look at what SpaceX did in such a short amount of time. I do remember, maybe I said that last time I was here, but if not, I'm gonna say it, meetings with companies like Lockheed Martin making fun of SpaceX and Elon Musk specifically 20 years ago at the SETI Institute, saying that he will never be able to do what his claim is doing now.
And has Lockheed Martin taken that back? Have they apologized? Does anyone ever apologize?
Nobody.
No one ever apologizes.
It
There
was
it is.
before social media. So
Exactly. Let's. All right. As we're waiting for this, you mentioned space trash. Is that really? I mean, it's space. Are we really literally like? Is that really a problem?
It is.
Why? Tell us what space trash really is and why we should care about space trash.
And what do we do about it?
What do we do?
they're
open
they're
a
asking like
Pandora
this
box.
is like, oh my gosh, what do we do about space trash? It is a really pressing concern. And this idea is that yes, space is really big, and there's lots of room for development and devices and spacecraft. But a lot of, for instance, the satellites that are being launched are doing great things and providing great information. But there's so many of them, and they're all in orbit around the Earth. They're not just being thrown out into space to travel the great expanse. They're all in our orbit. And so eventually we keep sending satellites up, and we have so much stuff orbiting the Earth, and not everybody is tracking them together in a cohesive manner. And so eventually these things could collide, or they do get sometimes in the way of our astronomical data.
All right. How many roughly would you guesstimate satellites are there around
there
Earth?
is like 9,000 of them right now.
Okay, 9,000.
12,000. They used to be something like 1,000 10 years ago, and there will be 50,000 in 2031.
Can we go back to space trash real quick?
Yeah, but all right. Well, let me just ask one other question before we go back to space trash. Of the 12,000, how many are operational, would you guesstimate?
So there is a new regulation that they're putting in place, where basically, if a satellite is not active for 5 years, it has to go back to Earth to burn into the atmosphere of our planet. So we are addressing the problem of space trash. However, things happen in space, and sometimes things we didn't expect, such as the destruction of a satellite. We have Eutelsat 33E that basically disintegrated, and there is like thousands of fragments in orbit around Earth. And those are tiny fragments, they're basically centimeter size, like one each or something like this. But they go at the speed of 12,000 kilometers per second. So if they cross the International Space Station,
What
it's
happens? The force
Bad
field doesn't
things.
protect it?
no, there is no force field. We didn't invent that yet.
Okay, one last question about that. All right, so could you guys invent a rule that says if your satellite breaks up, you're responsible for it, and you gotta pay everybody who you've damaged? Almost like car insurance.
So this is basically the conversation we had in the car, the Wild West.
Yes, it is.
So basically, right now, explain this bit, because you're better than me explaining this kind of idea. That we are now living in a time where there is not that many rules and regulation. So it's a bit like when in the US we started expanding toward the West. Everybody was doing whatever they wanted, basically, creating a country, decided that this land was their lands, etc. So we're a bit in this same phase for space at the moment.
I remember reading a few years back that the Chinese had some kind of mechanism that could go out and grab old satellites or whatever, and then there was a big brouhaha, and they're like, no, they can't put it up there. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I remember.
All right, and?
So the Chinese, the Europeans, the Americans, everybody right now is working on being able to capture satellites, take
Push them.
fragments, bring them closer to you, be able to inspect them, take pictures. I mean, it's not only for fun, it's also for surveillance and defense.
You want to ask your space trash question? If not, I got a question.
Actually, there was a couple, and you guys answered them already. So that
All right.
great.
So, just a quick question. Don't tell the answer. Does anyone remember Frank's favorite science fiction movie?
Who's flexing?
It's The Fifth Element. It's his favorite.
And you didn't like that.
No, I was surprised because you seem so sophisticated. I thought you would have picked a drama.
The
Is that a
Fifth
dra-
Element is sophisticated.
It's sophisticated.
Is it sophisticated?
Yeah, we can start again the conversation.
Yeah, all right, let's talk about The Fifth Element here. Everybody see The Fifth Element? You guys know? Okay, great. Wow, look at all this support. Why is The Fifth Element your favorite sci-fi film?
Because it's a positive view of the future. It's diverse, it's fun, it's the world I want to be living in the future. Come on. It's much better than Star Wars or Star Trek when they're isolated in the spaceship. Star Wars, where there is the Republic and everything. It's all our what I don't like in the recent science fiction books and movies is that we bring all our trauma that we have right now and we make it worse for the future. The Fifth Element is exactly the contrary. It's like having fun. Yes, there is drama, but ultimately, look at it. They are all diverse. There is aliens living together with human beings, and nobody cares.
During the he gets a round of applause for that. Unbelievable. During the Q&A, question Frank about other sci-fi movies that you love. All right. All right. So in The Fifth Element, there's the main characters. I think it's Mila Jovovich, Lilu. Would you say she's the main character, or was it Bruce Willis?
I think it's little.
All right. She declares, I am life itself. If you were meeting an intelligent alien tomorrow, how would you introduce Earth and humanity? What would you say?
The way that it's a loaded
I love it.
question.
I love
This
it.
is like really existential. When I think about this question, I focus more on the humanity aspect. How would I introduce us as a species? And I would assume that I could talk to the alien, first of all, but that we're a curious species and we want to share knowledge. But I think I would also ask for their guidance if this was a particularly friendly alien race, just because we have so many different ways of approaching everything nowadays, and I would ask them to help us collaborate as a species. And like, we are very, very curious. We want to reach where you are. How do we do that? How do we get into travel? How do we get into exploring the unknown? Because obviously they've done that. So I would introduce us poorly and then ask them for help.
But what are you most proud of from humanity? It would be like John Lennon's "Let It Be" or what art or music would you share on behalf of humanity?
Oh, that's tough. That wasn't on the
Okay,
list.
wait. Yeah. What art and music? Oh my gosh.
Coldplay?
Absolutely not.
You too?
Spice
Girls.
See that one U2 album?
Backstreet Boys?
It would be
Lady
the one
Gaga?
U2. Yes.
Well, didn't they a while back send out a bunch of stuff, and one of the things they sent out to the universe was Beethoven? Do you remember reading about this on the radio waves?
Techno music in space.
Yeah.
We send on the Voyager disc, there is classical music,
Yeah.
there is voices, there is different languages. But we recently, SETI has been using this sonar, which is a techno music in Barcelona, and they basically broadcast in space the techno from those DJs.
Lauren has something.
I think that I would share with them Star Trek, which is I feel a little bit silly saying that, but I feel like that as a show, it shows our curiosity, our creativity, but also kind of a hope for the future and what direction we want to move in. And so I think that is really representative of us as a species.
Wait a minute. Which one? Galaxy Quest or Fifth Element?
Do you want to? Are we fighting right now?
Which one? Galaxy? Because you just said Star Trek, so everybody thinks that. Which one's better?
There's so many of them.
Galaxy Quest or Fifth Element? Which movie's better?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
no,
that's
Fifth
it.
Element.
Yeah. Okay. You too? Fifth Element?
He pays me, so I'm really scared to answer this question.
All right. What is this?
Oh, so this is it's a nebula. I love this
Trifid
one
nebula.
because which one? Trifid, right?
Trifid.
Can we say it's moving away from us because it's red?
No. So that's
Okay, see.
why we need to show that
See, I'm
because
glad
I
we
wanted
have
to
some pros
contradict
in the house,
everybody
yeah.
here.
Okay.
Because most of the color in space is not coming from the speed, the relative speed of the object is coming from the composition of the object. So if you made of hydrogen, like in this case, and inside the cocoon there is a lot of very hot star, like gigantic, massive stars. They're so energetic that they basically illuminate the cocoon in red because there is hydrogen. So that's what you see here. And there is another part, if you see the details, it's very visible on my screen, but there is some dark area here, and this is basically the dust into this cocoon of star information. Other colors you want to talk about? The bluish of the oxygen, which is here.
What about here? This one?
So this is a star. And stars color, so another reason stars have colors is coming not from the gas, but from the temperature.
Exactly.
If you're very hot, you're whitish, bluish. If you're cold, you're reddish. And the sun is yellow because it's just in the middle.
Human, let's open it up. I feel like these aliens.
Well, hold
have some
on.
great
One last question.
questions.
One last question
Okay,
for
Human's
Doc,
got one more.
and then hopefully you guys are. Listen, no dumb questions. I mean, we asked all the dumb questions, so we're expecting the great questions for you guys. Dr. Frank, Dr. Lauren, if you could look through the telescope like a transportation machine, which planet or moon would you visit and why?
So I will go to K218b.
That's the water world?
Yeah.
All right.
Because this way will show all these theories that were completely wrong, and yes, there is plankton and there is life there. And I will take a cup of water with the plankton in it, and I will go back to Earth and say, hey, see? That's what I will do.
Nice.
What
He would
about
use
you?
it for an I told you so. I would visit a disintegrating exoplanet. So we use these telescopes, the unistellar telescopes, for citizen science, and I lead the exoplanet program. And we recently had a campaign to observe this planet that is disintegrating. It's called BD plus 0548688AB. I'm so sorry.
Why can't you guys come up with better names? Like, these names are so lame.
How do we know you're not making that up?
We look super smart when we
Yeah,
say
but, you know, like Saturn, that's a cool name.
Because this,
But it's in our solar
Is
system.
Pluto a planet?
No, it's not a planet.
Pluto?
No.
No, I'm sorry.
Unbelievable.
Okay,
I
so
know.
Our whole life it was a planet, all of a sudden it's not a planet. All right, go
tell
ahead.
us about
The
Yeah, BD 1, 2, 3.
Yes, some of our citizen astronomers call it BD blah blah blah, which is funny. But this planet, we were able to observe it and actually catch it or see a detection of it transiting in front of its star. So as it passes in front of its star from our line of sight, we see a dip in the star's brightness, kind of what Frank was talking about earlier. And we caught that. So we were able to help other scientists who are studying this planet to figure out what type of chemicals are in this. Not our telescope doesn't do that, but we get to help with that. But this planet, it's like a rocky planet, and it's orbiting so close to its star that it's actually starting to melt. And what we see in the scientific data is that as it's melting, it's trailing behind in its orbit this tail of melted planetary material. So it's really cool because we get a first look at what's inside this planet because we get to see it actively melting. And so I kind of just like want to go there and see what's up. I just want to see, and it's interesting to just imagine like if life existed there, what would that look like? I think that would be what I chose.
How many disintegrating planets do we know?
There's only 4.
Okay. How many exoplanets do we know?
6,000 as of last month, actually. The 6,000th exoplanet was discovered, which is wild.
And we know that in our galaxy there is 400 billion of them, probably. Something like that.
There's expected to be about 1 exoplanet for every star. So, yeah.
Wow. All right, we're going to open it up. Oh, wow. We got a lot of questions.
In this decade, where do you predict space exploration for the public to be at?
I predict that in 10 years, the young people here, they will go to space and go to, the one who have the money will go to hotels in space.
Wow, hotels.
It will happen. And it will happen very quickly.
Space hotels.
Space hotel.
Was that on Airbnb yet, or probably not?
I think it will be the hotel. Laura is thinking about the
Okay.
business here. So,
Oh, that's excellent. Stay tuned.
My boss is working on a space hotel right now.
see?
They only have like 15 properties, so that'll be the 16th.
Juliet, for just general people that are not experts in space or aliens, why is it so difficult to get a definitive response from experts like yourself whether there is alien life, especially when we hear on the news that the government is holding information back regarding alien life? So we would expect experts like yourself to definitively answer that.
What are you hiding?
We won't expect that.
Let us know. Let us
I expect that.
Yes.
So we are SETI Institute researchers, right? We work for an institute that searches for extraterrestrial intelligence. But we can't give a definitive answer because there is not one, at least at this point in time. And part of the reason is that we have not definitively received a message, been able to identify that, even though we have lots of telescopes that are looking for this. We even have a project called Laser SETI where we're looking for laser pulses. We haven't detected those things. And a true scientist will never claim, a good scientist will tell you that they don't know. And so that's why, as the scientific community, we have not been able to definitively say there is life on K2-18b because there's still more work to be done. And unfortunately, these things are so far away that we can't take that picture of that exoplanet and see for certain. So we have to rely on these secondary signatures. And there's so many unknowns because it's not like Earth that we don't want to claim anything and it not be true, because that would be ultimately much more harmful to the public and to our curiosity. We want to invoke a sense of trust, so that you know that when we say something, that's the real thing. We actually found it if we did.
Can I ask a follow-up to that? I'm right here. So if you guys did, Shrek is over here. If you guys did have alien life and you hadn't told us for 30 or 40 years, wouldn't that dissolve the trust as well?
It would.
Tell us what you know.
So, I'm going to take that because I know that last time I was grilled by, that's why I brought you here, in fact, to help me to defend myself against this. So, imagine as a scientist or as a human being, for me it would be amazing if I can come here and I tell you we found life.
I would
right?
love that.
You will love that too.
We would
Everybody.
love that. We want that.
At the SETI Institute, everybody wants that. We would love to find life. And if you don't tell you we found life, it's because there is no yet proof of existence of this life. Yes, you hear the news, things about UAPs. Yes, you hear the news about 3i Atlas being a spacecraft, but there is no evidence on any of that.
Can I, before we go to our next question, I like the term UFO. Can we go back to UFO? Why do we have to do UAP?
Because the military thought that UFO was too kind of ridiculous, so they switched to UAP.
Remind me what UAP stands for again?
Unidentified atmospheric phenomena.
Atmospheric phenomenon.
So,
Okay.
you remember One of the reasons we created SkyMapper is for the UAPs. The key part here is that we want to have a trustful network of telescopes and instruments capable of observing all the sky all the time. If we have a camera that records observation of something in the sky, a weird phenomena, and there is a system based on blockchain in our case that validates that this observation has not been changed, has not been modified, we will have a proof of something weird in the sky. So far, every observation we have seen is shaky cell phone recording, which has been photoshopped most of the time, or military things that we don't even know what kind of instrument they're using. So we cannot make analysis based on that.
All right, listen, before we get to the next question, it's going to be this kid right here. Don't stop asking about the alien questions, you guys. Grill them.
If there were aliens, what do you think they would look like?
Oh,
That's a good one.
what about, do they look like the ones right behind you, or?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, so it's hard to think about because we don't know where those aliens are coming from, right? And in my limited experience of being on this one planet, even though I wish I had been to more, I can only imagine alien life through my own lens. Almost like, can you imagine a color that you've never seen before? I find that really difficult. So I would imagine that alien life would be dependent on where it comes from. When I think of an alien species, I would like to imagine that they're kind of ephemeral and can move throughout the universe in ways that we cannot. How that would happen, I don't know. I like to dream. And even though I'm a scientist, we like to dream about these things. That's what keeps us inspired.
All right, the next, do you want to answer this question too, or?
No, I just want to say that we are in a biosphere which is very identical. What I mean with that is that if you take all the species on our planet, we have a very common kind of set of DNAs. There is how many? 60% similarities between a human being and a banana. Okay, and this is a fact from ChatGPT, so it must be true. But what I meant by that is that there is not that much diversity in our own biosphere because we are all related, in fact. We are all coming from a species that evolved. And the good thing of when we're going to find aliens is that they're going to be so different that we probably will not even notice that they are around us.
All right,
Speaking of, so we look to the sky for answers, but what if we as humans are the most intelligent life form in the universe, and we're actually supposed to solve all these problems and teach others how to do that? Shouldn't we be searching for terrestrial intelligence at the same time as we're searching for extraterrestrial?
Well, there is a lot to unpack here.
Yeah,
So,
give me a short answer, not too long.
short answer, we are looking for terrestrial intelligence. The SETI Institute has a group that basically search for the way we could communicate with whales, dolphins, and we study intelligent species on our planet. We now know that we are not the pinnacle of civilization and intelligence. In our own biosphere, there is a lot of very intelligent species. And we're starting understanding them finally. It took a while, but we now can we discovered recently how whales can say hello, for instance, and we have a small conversation with them. This is done by a SETI Institute researcher. About us being maybe the only intelligence in our galaxy, I just remind you that we missed what we call the golden age probably of civilization. Our sun was formed only 4.5 billion years ago. The stars in the center of our galaxy and our galaxy in general is 12 billion years old, so 3 times older than our sun. So that means that if a galaxy was appear shortly after the formation of the first stars in our galaxy, a civilization appeared shortly after the first stars in our galaxy, this civilization is 10 billion years old. So it's extremely advanced. Imagine us in 6 billion years old, 6 billion years, we will be very different. So my personal belief as a researcher is that we miss this. And in fact, around us, there is probably this extremely intelligent civilization, but they're so advanced that they cannot communicate with us. We like tiny ants for them. We don't exist.
All right, over here.
it's not a matter of if, but when we do get contacted by extraterrestrials, does SETI or NASA have protocols in place of what will be said or who will be contacted? Because I'd be very afraid if certain people in our current government contacted extraterrestrials, we'd be in deep trouble. But I mean, does SETI have protocols that are out there to in case, so they don't have to come up with them, but they're ready to go? It's okay. This is what's going to happen.
You go first and then I'll go.
Yeah, because I'm part of the SETI Permanent Committee, which is basically a committee international, and we are deciding now the new protocol. It's being discussed and is going to be announced in a year. So invite me in a year and I will describe to you the new protocol. And this new protocol, I can just give you some hints, it will take into account the fact that we have social media, the fact that we have new technology to validate our discoveries. So it's going to be announced officially after having been carefully studied by other scientists. And you know, scientists are very bad at keeping secret. So as soon we will find something, you will know, and the rest of the world will know. In fact, it's very fast.
Back here.
Oh, wait, hold on a sec. You want to answer this one too, yeah?
Yeah, I just wanted to really briefly, there was a really cool project that Franck was actually a part of called A Sign in Space, where an artist named Daniela De Paulus actually simulated what it would be like for us to receive an alien message. So she crafted a message and then sent it with the help of a lot of others to spacecraft, had them transmit that to us, and had our telescopes on Earth catch that message. And then she disseminated that message to the larger worldwide community over a Discord server. And so the goal of this project was to simulate what it would be like to try to decode a message from a civilization that we have no prior knowledge of. And people finally decoded it, and it took about a year. It was a father-daughter team who decoded the message. But if that gives you an idea of there is some sort of intelligence and we are contacted, maybe the government knows, I don't know. I would love to know what they know. But at the end of the day, we don't actually have the things in place, maybe, to decode that message. So it's going to take a worldwide collaboration, no matter what, to figure out how to communicate with an extraterrestrial.
All right, back here.
Thank you for a fascinating evening so far. Do you think there's anything on Earth that was possibly created by aliens? Like a Stonehenge that's inexplicable of how it was created?
Yeah, were the pyramids made by aliens? This is a question.
No.
You sure about that?
No. And we need to stop. I already have this conversation, I think, last time, and I'm going to say it again. We need to stop undermining our past civilization. I'm so sorry, but the Egyptian was extremely smart. They were like us, and they have technology, and that's the reason they managed to build pyramids, okay? And I think we need to really stop thinking that because we have invented computers and we have electricity, we are better. There is something that the Egyptians had that we don't have, is time. It took them a long time to build those pyramids, okay? And they have slavery also. And that's also makes the thing easier. In our society right now, if you wanted to build pyramids, it will take a lot of time. It will take less time through, but we will. Well, that's okay.
All right, no, the answer is no, bro. Nothing was built by aliens on this Earth. All right, Stonehenge. I mean, that one's not that sophisticated, is it?
So,
all right, here.
How closely have you guys been following 3i Atlas?
Oh, every day.
Very closely, yeah. So 3i Atlas is the third discovered interstellar comet, and our Citizen Astronomy Network and the comet lead of our program, Dr. Ariel Grakowski, she has been following it closely. Our citizen astronomers have been following it really closely, taking observations every day, and just to monitor the brightness of this thing, and that helps us track the activity of the comet as it approaches and then heads out of our solar system.
You guys learn anything about it?
So there's a lot that's going on in the media right now about how it is a spaceship. Nothing that we have seen has indicated that it is a spaceship. It actually acts completely normal. It has something that we call Keplerian motion. We can predict its motion. It outgasses like a normal comet, meaning that it has a bunch of ices on its surface that do sublimate, and that usually causes it to get brighter for a period of time. Everything that we've seen so far from this comet can pretty much be explained by it being a comet and us maybe not knowing exactly how it formed.
All right, next question here. Oh, do you want to say something?
I just want to say that there is some slight difference because this comet is not coming from our solar system.
Exactly.
It's coming from another solar planetary system. So it seems to have more nickel than that we expect. But that's normal.
And not as much iron.
And you've discovered a comet, no? Or is it meteorite is named after you?
No, it's an asteroid.
Asteroid. I was close. Okay.
Is it called Frank?
No, Marchis.
First of all, thank you, Shrek and Nick, for this wonderful event. Doctors, fifth element, yeah. So, for the water world, can you tell how big it is and how much of it's continent versus water? Like, how much of it's a actual mass of livable space versus water on this water world? KB.
Oh, K218.
That's the one, yeah.
You know the composition roughly, or?
Off the top of my head, I
Yeah.
think it's something like, it's supposedly 95% water.
Yes, 95%.
They're usually more massive than Earth.
They kind of Uranus and Neptune, and we believe in terms of composition of water. The ocean itself, we don't really know anything about it because we don't see the ocean. We see the atmosphere from the ocean. As usual, again, we don't really see the object itself. We detect the atmosphere of the object.
A lot of respect to guys who are in your job, folks like yourself. I get very excited when I look at things outside the universe and what we should know and what we don't know and all that kind of stuff. The question really is, and by the way, I don't expect the answer, but I'm still going to want to take your thoughts on that. With the current physics that we understand in terms of space and time, if we just talk about going to Mars with the right configuration of the planet, it's going to take 9 months to travel, right? And this is within our solar system. And then whenever the configuration changes, the shortest time coming back, another 9 months to come back. But when we're talking about space exploration further outside of the solar system, we definitely know that our current physics will not solve that problem, right? We cannot travel through space and time to get outside of space, right? Any comments, thoughts around that?
When we're going to explore the solar system, if we are limited to the physics we have now, it will take thousands of years to simply go to see another planet, another exoplanet. We know that now. I believe that what's going to happen is that we are going to build gigantic, what we call crater or nef, and basically we will put either this human into this cryo sleep or something like this, so that they're not affected by time. That will be the only way, based on the physics we have now, to be able to explore this galaxy. We don't have yet a system that can bend the space continuum and allow us to travel through space creating a wormhole and stuff like that. We don't have yet this technology. Maybe it will appear, but for the moment, it's not here yet.
So the physics could allow for that type of travel, but we don't necessarily have the technology.
Yeah, because the amount of energy is crazy and
exactly.
crazy. That's what.
I know that it's a challenge to monetize the SETI space. Is there an adjacent industry that tends to drive the technology that you use for astronomy and SETI?
Talk about if you guys have anything on the space station or anything cool like that.
So, you're going to talk about the seed.
You can talk about whatever you want to talk about first.
You're going to talk about the seed.
I will.
I think you're going to talk about that. No, so I'm an astronomer. I built instruments. I built telescopes. So for me, what is very important is that we make a lot of progress in detectors technology. I mean, I remember when I was a student in 2000, we have detectors were super poor in quality, not very efficient. And now the detector you have on your car, when you basically you look at the car in the camera, you have a detector which is 1,000 times better than what I did my PhD with in terms of size, sensitivity. And we're making a lot of progress with this. Miniaturization, efficiency, the technology of detector is key for astronomy because most of the information we're getting is coming from photons coming into the detector. So that's key. What about you?
Well, Human asked another question about things on the space station, which I don't know how related to his question, but I'm super happy you asked. Really quickly, there are similarities, like transferable periods of growth, not only in astronomy and what we use for actually research, but of course the space industry itself and SpaceX developing things for astronauts, et cetera, et cetera. And we actually had an opportunity recently in July to watch the Crew 11 mission from Cape Canaveral because we helped send pomegranate seeds to space on the world's first cultural seed payload.
Yeah.
So it had a bunch of different seeds representing different countries from around the world. There was Egypt, there was
Iran. There was the Maldives, and so on. So every country chose a seed that representative them. We send them to space. They stay in space for like a week, something like that.
Experienced microgravity, and then came back with the Crew 10 astronauts. And now people will continue to do research on those seeds that went to space.
We're gonna see if we can grow them. That's the key part here, because if you want to go back to your question, send humanity on the other side of the galaxy, it will take millions of years. So you want to make sure that you can feed them with something. So we are doing those kind of experiments now.
Yeah, a friend told me that if you get, I'm just curious on your opinion, if you get close to light speed, very close one day, that the universe expansion will create separate pockets. So life could keep evolving in different ways. And some pockets might even sort of outrun the heat death of the universe because it doesn't happen everywhere at the same time. So if we're the only form of life, it's sort of important that we ASAP, and it might be very long, get there. But curious if there's any holes in that kind of reasoning.
I don't know who is your friend, but you seem to have a very interesting conversation with him or her.
Sounds fun.
I don't know anything about that, about this kind of different space continuum and different speeds. So, to be honest, I have no idea.
I don't think, now maybe there's a part of the conversation that we're missing the context for, and it's been a while since I have taken a cosmology class. But there's nothing that I can think of in my knowledge that just by approaching the speed of light would create another pocket universe that's just approaching the speed of light. And the reason that we have so much trouble with that is because we have mass. The speed of light, photons have no mass, and so that's why they can go so fast. And so for us to even reach the speed of light, being such massive creatures and having spacecraft with mass, that would be so difficult. And that's why we have so much trouble conceiving of interstellar travel.
Yeah.
But there's no, I may be wrong, I may be missing something, but just by approaching light speed, photons travel at light speed all the time. Are they creating pocket universes? I have no idea. And I don't know what life itself would have to do with the creation of a pocket universe or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. All right, so listen.
Where did he go?
How can the zombie community help you guys in your search for extraterrestrial intelligence?
So you go on our website, SETI.org, to learn about the SETI Institute and what we do. You can go to skymapper.io to learn about the SkyMapper project and get telescopes.
And what's going on over here? What's with this cool telescope?
This is the Unistellar telescope.
The Unistellar telescope.
At unistellar.com. We may do a demo later on outside.
Excellent. So if you want to come check this out.
Yeah, hang out, you guys. Come look at the stars from the Park James. Yes, Dr. Lauren, a final thought?
Yes, I have one more thing. Laser SETI is what I was talking about earlier, our survey to search for laser pulses. And so coming soon, we're going to open up all of the data that we get to the public, and we could use everybody's help to use that data for all sorts of things.
And you will see we're not hiding anything.
We're not. We want to know too.
That's beautiful. Awesome. Well, round of applause for the guys again.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And we'll see you November 10 right here for another delicious bout of Zolkan Zombies. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.